Hi, everybody. I'm Ginny Schuster, and I am so excited to tell the whole world about Adrian Chenault. Whoops, wait a minute. Let me take that back. Adrian Chenault introduced me to the world, and that is why I'm doing these Zoom calls and Zoom interviews, because he taught me that there's nothing better than having wonderful relationships, and he showed me an easy way to do it. So I want to have Adrian on and share with the world about this fabulous program that he designed, created, and all that stuff called contact mapping. It's a phone app. So take it away, Adrian. How did you get into it? And let's hear your version of what contact mapping can do for the world.
Oh my goodness. Well, basically, before we even knew Ginny Schuster, we just bottled her up and we turned her into an app. And that's how this whole thing worked. I think that's a pretty good encapsulation. So, so contact mapping is the way of allowing you to take every relationship and every connection in your life and to honor it and to allow it to bring about opportunity in your life. And one of the things that we fundamentally believe is that you don't have a personal network and a professional network. You have a network because every human being is not one thing, right? The dad in the school pickup line might also be the perfect customer for your real estate firm or for your insurance agency or for your print shop or whatever it is. It just so happens that you met that person in the pickup line at school. And so what we are all about is enabling you and teaching you how to treat every connection with honor and to see that there's opportunity inside of every connection, to professionalize personal relationships, to personalize professional relationships, and to see this as all one sort of interconnected living organism, which is what it is. And so we have an app on your phone, as well as a solution that's on your computer, as well as a lot of training and support that is enabling a new class of professional to operate in a different way and to really harvest incredible value and to contribute incredible value to their network.
I love it. Well, let's break down for the people. There are two things I'd love to have you cover. One is your take and kind of spell it out about the phone app, what it does, the follow-up system, and all that stuff. And then number two, I would love for you to talk about the community, because I've been in your community and absolutely love that. Think it's a huge benefit for people who have their own business.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll give you just maybe an example of what using contact mapping looks like for someone like Ginny or someone like me on a daily basis. So Ginny is, an ambassador at our local chamber of commerce. She's somebody that is literally like light brightens any room that she walks into. And whether you've got this 10,000 watt smile like Ginny, or whether you're like me and you're a little awkward when you walk in a room, it doesn't matter, because what we do is we help you to be able to really be present and to be interested instead of interesting in a situation. So I go to a networking event. I'm much more on the introverted end of the spectrum, although I am comfortable kind of sliding in both directions. However, one of the things for me is I'm much more interested in having a great conversation with one person than a superficial conversation with 10. And so I tend to find somebody that I'm interested in and really get to know them and learn their story. And one of the banes of my existence is that, especially with names, I have this nasty habit of it going in this ear and out that ear, and I'm going crud. And so the half-life of some of those most important pieces of information is really short in my head. And if I don't get it someplace, I'm in trouble. And so I will meet somebody and I'll learn their story. And what I have learned to do, and that contact mapping supports me in doing, is to get that stuff out of my head before it's gone. And so I meet this person at a networking event. If they're a brand new person and I'm able to build some connection, one of my little superpowers that I highly recommend to you is to, at the end of that conversation, go, hey, could we take a selfie together? I'd love to add you to my contacts. And taking that picture together with somebody, it's a magic trick because it creates this sense of bonding. It allows me to capture their face and their name in that specific moment in time. And it gives me something I can send the person after the fact. So I'll send them that photo, and then at the end of that conversation, I'll walk away and I will literally speak into my phone. I met Ginny today. Her husband's name is Mike. She has a daughter named Ginny. She has a son named Mike Jr. His wife's name's Talia. They have these 2 grandkids that are awesome with Ginger. And then Mike and Talia have 2 more of their own. And I'm just going to brain dump everything I want to remember about this person out of my brain and into my app. And I will tell you, I was able to do that from memory only because I took the time to do that in the past, because it locks into your brain, hey, this is important information that's worth remembering. If I don't do that, it's gone. It's gone forever.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, what was it Mike or was it, Joe? I don't know, whatever. You're doing this thing, and then you're in this space of you're not able to be present in a future conversation because you're embarrassed about the fact that you can't remember basic details. So I brain dump those things out of my head. She used to own a print shop. She loves connecting with people. She, all the things that I want to remember about Ginny, I have those now captured someplace. And then as soon as I finish doing that, I hit the button that says save, and it says, when are you going to follow up with Ginny? And so the app is on each step. I got the contact. It says, what do I know about her? I say what I know about her. It says, when are you going to follow up? And so the app is helping you do the next right thing without you needing to have any discipline or have the system. The system is there for you. It's prompting you with the next right thing. And that, I think, is the most essential piece, because, and this actually maybe dovetails into your other question about community. If you're listening to this and you're going, gee, I really do need a system to help me with this, I will tell you, contact mapping is the best system in the world for this. However, I'm also going to tell you that the lack of the right system is not really your problem. The problem that fundamentally has prevented you from creating a system similar to this one of your own, whether it's in a spreadsheet or whatever, and you've probably had a go at all those things, right? You've got a drawer full of, there's probably 55 business cards in your drawer over here. There's probably a couple stacks of notebooks that are, from various phases of your life. And there's that spreadsheet over there. And that's, you have attempted every possible solution, and they haven't worked, not because the system didn't work. That's a tiny fragment of it. The biggest piece is that you aren't clear on the value that you are going to create out of doing this. And that value comes from trusting the process long enough to see the result, and from getting around people that are doing it. And so we created a community that fosters that. And so for our pro members, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we have a training that is about putting you into action. And it's a quick little pop in, pop out. And it's just get yourself into action with conversations, because objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Objects that are not doing anything, that are not actually following through on networking, tend to not do that. And then they stay in the same trap. Objects that get into motion and launch conversations stay in motion. And so we create this momentum on a daily basis together. And when you're around people that are doing it and you're hearing their stories of, oh my God, my phone is ringing off the hook now with people wanting to do business with me, you get inspired to stick with it long enough to begin to see that result for yourself.
Well, thank you, Adrian. Are there any other words of wisdom that you have for entrepreneurs or entrepreneur wannabes that, you've gone the whole spectrum? You went from an idea to creation to mastermind it. And this is what I want entrepreneurs to understand. They can do anything that they set their minds to. It's just a matter of getting over that fear. People might think, oh, I'm an introvert, I can't possibly do that. Well, with the contact mapping, it helps so much. And there are little fears that we build up in our own mind. So are there any words of wisdom that you would share with other entrepreneurs who are listening on what steps to take?
Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Being an entrepreneur is one of the loneliest, scariest things you can do. That's why most people won't do it. That's why there are a lot of wannapreneurs and a lot fewer entrepreneurs. And that's a good thing, because it really isn't for everybody.
True.
And if you really go and say, I'm going to create something in the world, and I'm going to create an impact in the world, whether it's, a moonshot Elon Musk kind of thing, or whether it's I'm going to start a side hustle. It doesn't matter. You're going to be faced with some serious challenges and resistance, because the world is built for you to be a follower and a sheep and stay in the mold. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be really clear about that. Sheep sounds very like I'm taking a shot at that, and I'm really not. Like, the most people, that is how we have a functioning society.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur cuts against the grain of that, and shit is going to hit the fan when you're an entrepreneur. Like, it's just going to happen. And I'm not, and it's funny because in total transparency, I kind of would give this speech and not fully walk my talk about this in the past. I literally, payroll is due tomorrow, and I had shit hit the fan for me in the last 24 hours, and I had to go and figure out a problem. And you're going to have those things happen. I guarantee you had sleepless nights along your journey of owning your own business, where you go, how are we going to make payroll tomorrow? Those are the things that are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And if there's a better title than the book, actually, although I love this guy. There's a book called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. The most important thing is the idea that digging your well before you're thirsty, having a network in place, knowing what you're going to do when that stuff happens, because it will happen, is so important. And it might not be your thing to have 500 people on auto rotation for your network. That's fine. Have the 10 people that that when stuff happens, that you're going to be able to call. And I made that call this morning. I called a guy and said, hey man, I need $15,000 tomorrow. and he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And wow.
And that's your network. I mean, that's
the network.
Your relationship.
That's the trust
that you've worked on. Yep.
And so that if you're serious about being an entrepreneur, whether that number sounds like a ton or a little to you, doesn't matter. The day will come when your back's against the wall, and knowing who you're going to call before that happens is one of the best things that you could possibly do for yourself. And it really can be scarily, it can really be life and death for an entrepreneur, because the water gets that deep sometimes. And so I want you to use our system. I don't really care if you use our system. I do care that you do that for yourself and have a network that you can tap into, because when you have that dark night of the soul as an entrepreneur, which will come if you do it, I don't want you to be hopeless and afraid and not know what to do, because there's a lot of people that get into that boat.
Yeah. Well, that really emphasizes the importance of your relationship building and having the people around you that you need. That's part of learning and growing in a business. And that's where I see reaching out to you and your community. There's a huge variety of people in your community that can help you through some of the tough times. So thank you, Adrian. Really appreciate that. So entrepreneurs, don't have the fear, reach out to Adrian.
do. And actually, so really do. This is, I think, my life's calling. And if you find yourself in that boat, or you're watching this and you're already in that dark night of the soul, just know you're not alone, and that I would be more than happy to talk to you.
I love it. Okay. Well, thank you, Adrian, for all this terrific information. And I'm looking forward to having people reach out to you and also get into contact mapping and in the community. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Ginny.
Please like and subscribe to Ginnypreneur on YouTube, and look at my website, ginnypreneur.com. Thank you for joining us today.